Hey, welcome back to the Empty Nester Life podcast. I'm Mark.
And I'm Jackie.
And I will confirm that. Today, we're going to talk about health. We've been on a little bit of a health journey, actually, both of us. And so I thought, maybe some of this information we thought might be good that we'd share it on the podcast because, you have to have something to talk about. And we're zealous about it. We really like to research it and we like to look into it. I think it's something that's kind of a little bit of a hobbyish now for us.
For you, definitely.
Yeah.
And I am the willing participant when I hear what you tell me you found in your research, and then I put it into action in our shopping. So I want to kind of tell you how this particular episode came to be. It really started with our spice rack. So as Mark was doing a lot of the research that, especially if you go back to, I think it was episode number 3, where we talk about Mark's heart health journey, this is all part of what the outcome was of his diligent research. And what we found was actually really surprising to us. So he came and said, listen, there's all this bad stuff in our foods, different additives, things like that. And so we said, well, let's look at our spice rack.
It's a simple thing to do. It's in that cupboard right there. So one night, we started pulling the stuff out of the spice rack one by one and reading the ingredients.
Yeah, we were a little surprised. And so we literally took a lot of the bad spices and put them to the side and said, we need to tell people about that. So last night over dinner, when Mark was doing the cleanup after dinner and we're looking at all these spices, and we said, let's do it as a podcast episode.
And so that's what we're going to do.
So that's where we are today.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you an example before we jump in, because we're going to talk, it's not just spices, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but I think the paprika, the story of the 2 paprikas is a really good place to start.
It's our case study.
So you'll notice we have all sorts of visuals here today. And we have, Mark, do you want to showcase what we've got down here if you can reach it?
We have a trash can.
We have a trash can because we are live, live for us, you'll be watching it, not live, but we're going to throw away the bad stuff. So here's the example of the 2 paprikas. So this one is from Sprouts. It's organic. Sprouts. And it says ground paprika on it. So when you look at you know what I forgot to bring over here?
You can use this.
Was the readers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all are going to need your readers because you are empty nesters like us. You're of the age you probably are going to need readers.
I think they purposely make the ingredients really small.
Yes. So this says ingredients, organic paprika. That's it. Shocking that what you see is what you get.
It's too simple.
So that's a good one.
That's all that's in there.
But look at this one. This is from Food Club, which is like a cheap generic of some of the different things. So if you look here for the ingredients, let's see. We have some suggestions on how to use it. And then we say, for nutritional information, write to the address below. And then it gives the address of the distributor, Topco Associates. And then it says scan here for more food information. So we thought last night in preparation, we said, okay, so let's scan it and see what happens. It literally takes you to a page that reiterates that if you want nutritional information, you have to write to the company. So as far as we're concerned, that one's going in the trash.
Yeah, not great confidence that what we're going to find is going to be what we want to see in our paprika. We want to eat paprika just as paprika. We don't need multidextrose and, some of these Brofan or whatever that's called.
Well, we're going to get into
all that crazy stuff in there. So that's a little case study. And you can do the same thing with your paprika.
Yes. So, but it's not just spices. All right. I mean, honestly, our reaction when we went through the spice cabinet and found so many things that we were unknowingly putting onto our food or into our food that was bad for us is we said, well, what the heck else is going on here? So Some of the common culprits in household items. These are just household foods that you have around. Spices that we're talking about often contain anti-caking agents, fillers, and even heavy metals. Like sometimes there's lead in turmeric, which is crazy. Seasoning blends will have additives, they'll have MSG. A lot of times they have excess salt and even sugar. So, I mean, here you think you're just getting spices, but they've put all this extra stuff in it. But Mark, what are some other sneaky sources?
Well, I just want to point out our table here because I don't want to go on. I'm going to get to that. I don't want to go on too far, have us go on too far. So this is the bad stuff here, and those are all the good ones. And I want to say this in terms of like pure ingredients for the most part. We found out, because there's more stuff in our cabinet. Really, the good is we had more good than we had bad. But I'm going to say probably in the neighborhood of 25% of what we had in our spice cabinet wasn't good.
I agree. And
about 25, maybe 30%.
Well, and part of that is because I had my own health issues that reared their ugly little head in 2018. And so that sent us down a journey of anti-inflammatory diets and things like that. So for years, I have been buying certain good brands. We're going to get to this. So, but I like that you jumped ahead and showed the visuals so people aren't like, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on there? So, some of the other ones is salad dressing. Mm-hmm. I think salad dressing it's so mean. Because,
it is.
Yeah, because you go to Sprouts or you go to Whole Foods, you go to Safeway, whatever. You go to HEB and you buy your nice produce and you go to the organic section and you buy your killer, green tomatoes or your
lettuce, your onions,
carrots,
your tomatoes, all the things you want to make a salad, nice salad out of, and you think you're being healthy.
Yeah, and then you dump salad dressing on it like, French, or whatever it is, or, I don't know, blue cheese, whatever it might be. I'm not thinking very well about these ingredients. But you put that stuff on there and like we have down here with over 15 ingredients. I just want blue cheese. I just want some blue cheese. Put some salt in there. I get it. You got to kind of preserve it a little bit, but you can buy real pure ingredients and that's not what's going to happen. So you basically contaminate all this awesome organic leafy green lettuce and carrots.
It's true. And so one of the things that I've been doing to combat that is that I have been buying oil and vinegar, and I buy infused oils and infused vinegars. And honestly, there's shops like this all over the place. They're like a little franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Flagstaff, it's called Olive the Best in Flagstaff. And then there's one in the Verde Valley. And honestly, there's been little olive oil shops in just about every town that we go to.
Yeah.
So
seems like they're everywhere now.
Yeah. And so definitely that's where I started. And so you've got these infused oils and vinegars that you can mix into your salad, and they're pure ingredients. It's olive oil, and the vinegars are mostly of balsamic vinegar.
High quality, really super high quality.
High quality, all organic, all of that kind of stuff. So that's a really good alternative to salad dressings. But a lot of times, salad dressings, if you read it, they're going to have seed oils. And we're going to talk about seed oils in a little bit. But I do want to start by just saying they're bad for you.
Yeah, then you want to do some appetizers. You're sitting around with whoever, and you're sitting, you cut up some cheese, and then you pull out everything, and you pull out, your almonds, and then you pull out your crackers. And you know what I will tell you? We have probably 6 boxes of crackers. And I know that we've got some crackers down below there that are not good for us.
Oh, I'm sure.
There is so much stuff in crackers. Now, you can find good crackers, but you got to read the ingredients. Read that label, because the label is going to tell you what's in it. They have to.
Yeah.
The Food and Drug Administration makes them list their ingredients. And so that's the other thing I find. I find crackers are messed up.
Crackers, breads, sauces, all of them high with seed oils. And a lot of times just, when you read those ingredients that you can't pronounce, if it sounds like a chemical, it probably is a chemical, and that's not good. A lot of, and honestly, if you look back into our food and the way that things were happening back in the industrial age, and they started to process our food, and they would put these additives into it to make the food last longer.
Yeah, that was the whole deal.
That was the deal. And so at first it seemed like, woohoo, this is a great idea because food doesn't spoil as fast. And so we're not going through it nearly as quick as we used to. So it's better on our food budget and all of those kinds of things. Well, that's all well and good for 100 years ago. But now research has shown that these additives that they've been putting in there are causing cancer, are causing obesity, all sorts of bad stuff. So another culprit that we're going to talk about are bottled waters and that have microplastics in it.
And nanoplastic, stuff you can't even see.
Yeah, stuff you can't see and stuff you can't say. And if you can't pronounce it, it's probably not something you can put in your body is one of the things I've come up with. So here's what we want to say just to wrap up this segment, and then we're going to get in more in depth into each of these. But if your ingredient list is longer than a paragraph, you might not want to buy it.
Well, in the case of the paprika, ingredients was paprika.
Right.
I think it's usually a few words, maybe 5, and that's about it. And seasonings that I'm talking about when they kind of add a bunch of different stuff in.
Well, yeah, and then the other thing is like we said, if you can't pronounce it, so monodextrose and all sorts of stuff. So let's talk about that, Mark. There is a hidden danger of food additives, all right? And so what did you find while we were researching?
Well, the potassium bromates, there's food dyes. I know they're working on that. There's nitrates. I don't even know what HFCSs are, but a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, these additives, you can't buy it in Europe. I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, but their food is really good in Europe. I was in France for 10 days back 20 years ago and rode my bike in the Pyrenees. And I will tell you, I never got a bad meal, and everything really seemed fresh. And I think that has to do with the way they've just kept a lot of the things that we think are okay or have thought in the past are okay to put into our foods, especially additives and preservatives and that sort of thing, and dyes and sort of basic chemicals. It's just not healthy. So-called healthy foods can be ultra-processed foods. Like I always talk about this, like when you're in the grocery store. If it's at eye level, probably don't buy it. It's the stuff down around your feet. It's the stuff kind of up high. That's the stuff that's probably end of the aisle. That's the stuff that's probably a little more healthy. It doesn't always stand true, but this isn't an original idea, but I think it really is. All the really shiny stuff with little cartoon characters on it and stuff like that, chances are it's ultra processed and it's full of additives, preservatives, chemicals, food dyes, and that sort of thing.
Well, and I printed out a list. We'll go ahead and put this in the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put it in the YouTube description. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things that actually you think are good for you and they're not.
Okay.
One of them is protein bars, meal replacement bars. They often contain synthetic vitamins, so not natural. This is man-made, cooked it up in a factory, went Walter White on you, and instead of meth created vitamins. Okay. You had soy.
Instead of meth, it created
So I'm saying you went Walter White. You're not putting meth in it. Yeah, okay. I know. I mean, whatever.
I like it. I mean, Walter.
Soy protein isolate, added sugars, and artificial flavors. So all of that stuff, not good for you. So you think, I'm going to grab this protein bar, I'm going to eat this meal replacement, and it's got all that stuff in it.
Can I just say this, jump in there real quick? Protein bars are loaded with sugar.
Yeah, they're just basically glorified. I mean, you might as well just grab a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
Because at least that's a little more enjoyable.
It tastes good.
Yeah. So, flavored Greek yogurt, bad news. They have added sugars, artificial sweeteners, or thickeners like gargum or something I can't even pronounce. Again, it'll be in the notes. So, definitely check that out. But one of the things, whole grain breakfast cereals, no bueno. Plant-based meat substitutes, which honestly, we were vegan for about a year.
Yeah.
And
because of you.
Because of me, because again, I had some health stuff that I was really trying to go anti-inflammatory. So that started out with going onto a whole food plant-based diet. Mm-hmm. So at first that was a pretty good idea, but then you kind of get lazy a little bit and you start just saying, well, it's vegan. So then you start looking at I really miss having a good hamburger.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy these Impossible burgers because they're still vegan. I'm not eating meat. Oh my gosh. they're so highly processed.
What do they call them? Nothing burgers?
Yeah. In our last travel road trip video, we were talking about a nothing burger, like just that statement. And then he thought we were talking about the Impossible Burgers. But
that's what they should call them, nothing burgers.
Well, they're not nothing.
That's true.
There's something that could kill you if you're eating this stuff. They've got isolated proteins, seed oils, flavor enhancers, and loaded with preservatives.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, we're going to have a whole
Artificial.
We're going to have a whole list of what you think is healthy, but is really honestly killing you. So it's shocking.
Yeah.
So anyway, what are some of the effects that we're naming all these bad things. These are your, the boogeyman in your pantry. That's a good title, The Boogeyman in Your Pantry.
There's another episode right there.
What's some of the bad things that can happen to you?
Well, we know there's a whole lot of cancer going on right now.
Yeah.
I was reading just before we started to hear that cancer, and especially young adults, in the last 10 years is up 30%. Now, the older folks, us older folks, are actually doing better, maybe about 7% better, but the younger folks aren't. And so the stuff that we're talking about, additives and processed food, ultra-processed food and stuff like that, and I don't want to beat up on younger people at all. We have 2 younger daughters. It's cheaper, right? So processed food, fast food, and that sort of stuff is cheaper, and it's faster, it's more convenient, and it's readily available, but it's really not great for you. So cancers, diabetes, we know obesity is a problem for sure. We know that depression's a problem. I mean, what you eat affects how you feel.
100%.
And so, energy levels are really, really affected. Like if you're walking around dragging all the time, just challenge you to eat correctly. And that is, cut your sugars, cut your processed foods, cut your carbohydrates, and just see if your energy improves. Just see how much better you feel. I will testify that for sure we feel better because our diet has cleaned up, following kind of those guidelines I was just talking about.
No, that's really true. And again, we're not doctors, all right? We're not pretending to be doctors.
No.
These are just things that we found during our research.
Yeah.
But another thing that's on the list that these different additives are causing is cognitive decline. So there's, you hear all of these instances of Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that. We were talking about it in the episode that we did on your heart health, where because of some of the different medications you weren't tracking, well, that can happen with your food sources as well. So some other things are hormone disruption as well as gut inflammation. And so there's just all sorts of things that can be happening. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Mark, if I'm eating super clean and then I take one of those bad spices and sprinkle a little bit on top, is that like a stamp that I'm going to get cancer down the road?
No, not at all. And the other thing I would say too is that if you go really at this stuff in moderation, like you pull into McDonald's once a month, rather than you're eating you hear about the guy that ate Big Macs every day for 30 days, what happened to him.
Yeah, he did a documentary.
It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. So like if you pull in once a month, okay.
Right.
Okay. Or you sprinkle a little bit of this on your steak or on your salmon or on your burger, that sort of thing. Because, here's Montreal grilled master chicken seasoning. And I know we're going to talk about this, but I'm just saying, is that going to kill you? No, it's really more of kind of a moderation thing.
But if you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a drive-through here, some salad dressing there, this stuff all adds up. And one of the things that we did talk about in your heart episode, the episode about your heart health, is the evil and the danger of inflammation in your body. And so that's one of the things I just want to point out, is that all of this stuff adds up to really causing inflammation, which then leads to a lot of these diseases. It's a breeding ground for these other diseases.
Inflammation is really sort of this toxicity that happens inside of your system with all these extra ingredients that don't need to be there.
Right.
Because they're just They're just manufactured factory ingredients. The farther you get away from the ground, okay, and you get to the little cartoon characters with the shiny little cellophane wrappers and that sort of thing, the farther you are away from what food is supposed to be. And that is just food, rather than, carrots that are ground up and then this is added, that is added, and they call it, carrot cheesy puffs. I don't even know if they have those. But you see what I'm saying?
It sounds like something you'd see.
Yeah.
So here's the solution for this part of the hidden dangers, right? Is number one, read your labels. Don't worry so much about calories. Worry about your ingredients, because I will say 100 calories of a bunch of processed sugary nonsense is going to be far more detrimental to you than 250 calories of pure whole food. So that's going to be something. Another thing you can do are there's apps out there that can help you research things. We haven't actually tried these yet, so we'll link them below. But I'm definitely going to download one of these.
YUKA. Try Yuka. Supposedly, it's a great app for food scores.
Yep, or EWG's food scores. So, and then swap out one item per week. You don't have to go crazy. We're going to throw away a bunch of spices today. You don't have to do that. But I mean, literally with the paprika.
I want to do one.
Yeah, but you didn't read the ingredients. The whole point was we're going to use it. Okay.
They got plenty of bad.
Anyway, so that's a good example of one of the things you do is just start swapping out one item per week. Swap out swap out your favorite ranch dressing for some oil and vinegar, something like that. So let's talk about environmental toxins and the water we drink, Mark.
Yeah, so they're finding, and they have found over the years, it's really coming to the forefront now. You probably read stories on it. There's a lot of microplastics in our municipal water. I don't know if you know this. Years ago, I was in the water industry. And I don't know if you know this, but literally the water we're drinking today, probably now, it's been recycled 6 or 7 times. In terms of inside of our little, atmosphere here on Earth, this is the same amount of water. The water is the water. I don't think God isn't adding more water. It's the same water. It just gets recycled. Unfortunately, because of the advent of plastics, we're seeing that plastics have now leached into not only into our water supply, into basically everything. So when you drink municipal water without, let's say, a reverse osmosis system, that sort of thing, an RO, you're getting microplastics in your water. You're not going to see these. You're getting nanoplastics in your water.
And the key here is that your body cannot process those. And so
it's inflammatory, and it stays inside of your body. You can't process. You're right.
You can't process it. So this causes inflammation. It causes cell damage. It causes hormone disruption.
I imagine cancer.
Well,
I'm imagining.
Well, I mean, honestly, you look into like the different occurrences of cancers and how many times do you hear somebody just got diagnosed with cancer, somebody just passed away from cancer. We lost his brother to cancer and he was only 59. My mom just passed from cancer at 79. She battled it for 6-7 years.
But if she didn't have cancer, she'd be 100% with us right now.
Yeah,
everything
100%.
Else was good.
It was the cancer. And so, there's just so many different instances that just come to mind. So anyway, it's also, they're doing recent studies where it's actually showing up in your blood and in your lungs.
Yeah, okay.
These microplastics. And again, it's just your body can't handle it. So here's how to fix it.
All right. I want to get positive. Let's get positive.
Yeah, let's get positive. Mark, you already kind of mentioned something. How do you fix it?
Reverse osmosis is great. Takes it down, takes your water down, filters it down. I believe it's to like 1 micron. That's very small. It's a little kind of bladder diaphragm thing that literally takes out almost everything. Of course, you have carbon along with that. It takes out the chlorine and your fluorides and stuff like that. And so reverse osmosis is a great way to go.
Yep. And if that's not a reality where you're living, maybe you're renting, you don't want to put in a reverse osmosis system, you don't really have the funds for it right now, get yourself a pitcher filter. That at least is going to help you. These are those little filters that you can
Get the chlorine out.
We'll link below to some really good ones. Again, Mark does have some good knowledge on this because he did used to be in the water business. But just using even a pitcher filter where you're taking that tap water, putting it in the pitcher filter, letting that sit in your fridge. Another thing is quit drinking out of plastic bottles. So you'll notice I have a glass that I'm using. Glass or stainless steel is really what you want to be drinking out of.
We got to get better. So we have a little artesian well down Oak Creek Canyon, which is on the way to Sedona. And we are very fortunate we get to drive down Oak Creek Canyon. We're very fortunate we get to drive through Sedona. It's a beautiful place. If you have not been there, definitely go there. It's a little weird, but what kind of place like that isn't? But it's definitely an international destination, so it's really cool. But I digress. So there's a little artesian well that's free, and you can go there and you can fill up your water. So I go there. That's what we drink. We drink artesian well. It's the most pure well, I guess, in all of Arizona, spring in all of Arizona. And they test it once a month, if there's any sort of bacteria. It's mainly bacterial stuff. And they say it's been filtered. It's the best. I've been there with people, and it has all these healing properties.
Well,
and
wait a minute.
I know it has perfect pH. It's 7.9 pH.
Here's what I want to say. It does have healing qualities because you're drinking this instead of your tap water with the plastics in it. So of course it has healing qualities.
Well, thank you. Yes.
And another thing,
I stand corrected.
Yeah. So if you happen to be lucky enough to live near fresh spring water, certainly you go.
Get it.
Another thing is avoid microwaving in plastic containers. So if you're microwaving food or beverage or anything like that in a plastic container, that's getting into your food, which then gets into your system. Again, your body can't process. Yes. Okay. Seed oils.
Seed oils. Let's go there.
Let's talk about seed oils, Mark. Do you have that thing about the canola and the soybean?
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be getting a lot of publicity finally in terms of seed oils and kind of how they're bad. Mm-hmm. But so canola oil is made from rapeseed, which is often genetically modified. That doesn't sound good.
No.
I'm not a scientist, and I don't play one on YouTube, but I don't think that's good.
So
a lot of refining, a lot of bleaching, deodorizing so it makes it edible. Oh, okay. It wasn't tasteful. Now it's tasteful because they deodorize it because it stunk.
This to me is just shocking.
You're appalled.
I really am.
Look at her face.
I am appalled. And honestly, when I started learning about this stuff, because you think about that, this is canola oil we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
So canola oil, I grew up. I mean, canola oil. You put that in all your baking. You put it in this. You put it in that. Y'all frying chicken in your canola oil or your
bake a cake.
or your Crisco oil. Knock it off.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this stuff is often high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are, if you eat too much omega-6 out of balance, then they're really not good for you. And so what they do is this is because of low cost, and that's how they do this. So it's really a bad stuff.
Yeah, stay away from it. Omega-6 is, and so basically it's a ratio thing between omega-3 and omega-6. But you're going to see studies that, omega-6 is good.
Yep.
Yeah, not really.
So soybean oil and corn oil, all of these are usually in the United States genetically modified. So that right there.
Read your labels.
Read your labels, but just stay away from this stuff. I mean, honestly, it's really bad for you. It's often found, some of this stuff is found in frying. It's found in processed snack foods. The soybean oil you're going to find in your margarines, your salad dressings, snacks and baked goods. All of this stuff is going to lead to inflammation, and there's no nutritional value to these things. So what do you take instead, Mark?
Well, people are getting sicker and sicker. Olive oil obviously is a go-to. Avocado oil obviously is a go-to. I'm a huge olive oil fan. I'm a little weirded out by it now because I started reading some stuff about olive oil, but I'm actually kind of back to the whole olive oil thing. And because at some point, fat right, that's in the oils make everything really palatable. That's why like fast foods are really palatable. They're filled with a lot of fat. Of course, they're filled with sugar and salt, and that makes it really, really palatable. But going back to oils, when you're talking about canola oil, any of these oils, it makes it really palatable. It makes it taste good. Like if you've ever had a salad and you just put vinegar on it and then you sprinkle some olive oil on it, changes the complexion of that salad.
Right, but olive oil is good.
Olive oil is good.
Okay,
I think
so
olive oil is good. There's new stuff coming out where they're now saying that some people are saying it. I don't think they're right, because we know the Mediterranean diet has been great for people over the years, but they're now starting to beat up a little bit on olive oil. And I'm okay saying that. I'm going to continue to eat it because I feel good when I have olive oil.
So one point I want to make is that sometimes you just have to pick the lesser of the evils. I'm not saying that olive oil is an evil, but it is certainly, it is
heads and shoulders
above canola oil or other seed oils like that.
Yeah.
So they use these bad oils for you because they're cheap and because they have a longer shelf life. Well, of course they have a longer shelf life. They've been genetically modified and created in a factory and all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
But they do cause the inflammation, all sorts of stuff. There's all sorts of chemicals, things like that. But here's what you want to do as your alternative is you want to use olive oil, you want to use coconut oil, or you want to use avocado oil. Whenever possible, you want these to be cold pressed. Something about that cold press process that keeps it closest to its natural state. And definitely you want to avoid fast food and snackage packs. Packaged snacks.
Snackaged. Yeah, snackage
with
pack.
vegetable oil in the ingredients. So vegetable oil.
If it says vegetable oil, then you know you're going back to the canolas and corn oils and soybean oils and stuff like that. You think, oh, sounds like it might be good. The problem is they process them too much.
Okay. Let's talk about these bad boys now. All right, come on, let's get into it.
Let's see.
So we want to show you some real live examples of things that you probably have in your pantry, in your spice rack, and what it says. So what Mark's looking at now are some bouillon cubes. So go ahead, read what's in those little. Well,
number one, it's hard to eat, but it does have safflower oil. It's got coloring. It doesn't have hardly any beef. It said 2% beef.
2% beef in your beef bouillon.
It's Food Club, and I don't mind calling them out. But what? I don't know. And it's, got a lot of ingredients. I want beef bouillon, okay? That's what I want. And, it's really packaged nice, too. You've seen these before. You got the little tin foil around them and stuff like that. Let me see. Smell this. It doesn't smell good.
Well, yeah, because you put it in water, and then it creates a beef broth. So guess what's better? Beef broth. And, that has been living in the shelf for a while. Go for it, baby.
Oh.
Boom. That feels good. Okay,
that feels good.
My turn.
Yeah, you go. You want to steal these?
Yeah, I'm going to need those for sure. Oh, this is the one I wanted to talk about is the salmon rub. So we bought the salmon rub from like a little boutique that, you would think was very healthy and, it's all natural and all of this kind of stuff.
That was the pitch.
That's the pitch of the store overall. But then you read this and you find out the first ingredient is brown sugar. So you've got sugar in here.
Come on.
And then you look through here and it all sounds good.
Salmon rub. This is salmon rub. First thing is sugar. Right.
First thing is sugar. So then you kind of look through there and you go, okay, but it's got, mostly good stuff. And then you get to the end and it says dextrose. Wait a minute. Why is there dextrose in there? Well, you know why they put that in there is to increase the shelf life. But that alone is enough to make me take this and go, that is not nearly as healthy as I thought it would be. And so for that reason, I'm out.
We're out.
Okay, what do you got there?
All right, so this is I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh, okay.
So this is the Grill Masters Montreal chicken.
Oh,
I pulled it up
pages.
before.
Okay. I'm just going to put my pages down because
There
I'm
you
losing
go.
them anyway.
Too much, not enough room.
Not enough room. Okay, ingredients. Garlic, good. Salt, good. Onion, spices, including black pepper. Okay, this all sounds good. Orange peel, paprika, and sulfiting agents. Okay, so this has sulfites in it. And now here's the thing. This is a big brand. And again, why would you put the sulfates in it? It's to extend the shelf life. But anything that's really put into our food to extend shelf life, probably not that good for you. So that one we're out.
We're going to get rid of it.
We're getting rid of it.
Yep. Yep. All right. So this is
Yep.
lime. This is true lime. There you go. True lime. Lime, garlic, and cilantro. And so this bad boy has acid in it, citric acid. Okay. Lime juice, lime oil. Okay. And maltodextrin.
There it is.
Garlic, onion, cilantro. It says no artificial preservatives and it's gluten-free. But it's got some stuff in it that keeps it in your pantry for a couple of years.
Yeah, not for nothing. We bought that probably 5 years ago. And
Just go buy some limes.
just go buy some limes and some garlic, and there you go.
Just buy some darn limes. Here's cracked pepper Asiago popcorn seasoning.
Yeah, so Mark is obsessed with popcorn, so he gets a lot of this kind of stuff for Christmas presents and things like that.
I think that maybe is where this came from.
Yeah.
But it has sugar in it. I don't really want the sugar. It's got some potassium in it. It's got some saturated fat in it. It's got trans fat in it. That's not good. That's inflammatory. And so saturated fat can be okay for you, but trans fat, you don't want that. So for that reason, we're out.
I love it.
Yep.
So here's one of the brands I do want to show you, and I am going to see if they've got a website that we can link to. I mean, I'm sure they do. But I got turned on to these guys at the farmer's market of all places. It's called Signature Seasonings. Ryan something. I can't.
Yeah, I remember we bought
read it.
from them a few times.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we met the
How
guy
you
who
doing?
owns but this is the kind of stuff that is absolutely, it says right on here, low sodium, gluten-free, non-GMO, important. But literally you go to the ingredients list and it's spices. That's it. You've got garlic, onion, basil, oregano. I mean, all of these are spices. There's not one sulfite. There's not one dextrose this, mono that, nothing. This
Bromate,
is pure,
whatever.
pure spice. So for that reason is good. And then this is sesame seeds from HEB. So shout out to all of our Texas viewers. And literally the only thing in here are sesame seeds. Not too shabby.
Go figure.
So-
Food Club would have figured out a way, I think.
So we wanted to just kind of show you, like, the Sprouts Organic is good stuff. We wanted to show you Trader Joe's. If y'all have a Trader Joe's by you, this is a brand that when you read these ingredient lists,
It's clean.
It's a clean ingredient
Yeah, it's
list.
clean.
And then the one thing too that we were actually kind of surprised about is the Members Mark, which is what you get from Sam's Club or Costco. Or no, wait, Members Mark is Sam's Club. Kierland is
Oh, that's
Costco.
true.
So we don't have a Costco where we live, so
Yeah.
you'll have to check that yourselves.
Right.
But if you shop at Sam's Club, your Members Mark Organic, all of those are just pure ingredients.
Yeah,
so
nice and
like
plain.
this was Members Mark. This is all of them pure ingredients. So we definitely wanted to give them a shout out as well.
So we know that, those are the places to go get these really cool seasonings, and we got to figure out something to replace the Montreal stuff.
Yep.
Because that's, really, really tastes good, especially on burgers and chicken, that sort of thing, and salmon. So we got to figure that out.
I guarantee you we can
We'll
find
figure
it.
that out. But right now, we're in deficit, but we're definitely not going to pull these out of the can. Those are not coming out of the
Those
garbage
are
can.
not coming
I will
home.
guarantee you, because they've actually been sitting on the wayside for a while now. And I was surprised, too, because I thought, like, oh, they're pretty expensive. Some of that stuff's pretty expensive. And you hate to buy buy stuff twice. But I think you have to make a commitment to health, because otherwise you're going to have, I think, some of these things are going to crop up on you like they cropped up on me. And I think that's really the impetus of this whole thing. We both got a couple of health things going on. And I think if we would have known better, I'm not saying that we wouldn't have any issues whatsoever, but I got to feel like it matters.
It does matter. And especially when it's so pervasive in everything that we're eating. And that's why we wanted to do this episode, because if you can even make these little micro steps towards eliminating them, at least from your household. I mean, maybe when you're out at a restaurant, you can't avoid some things, but if you can just make these little steps, again, if little bits add up to inflammation and disease, then little steps to avoid it can lead to avoiding the inflammation and disease.
Yeah, and you may already be dealing with diabetes or pre-diabetes. I remember I got diagnosed with that years ago. I'm not diagnosed with that anymore, but so don't stay on that train. Get off that train now.
So we've already kind of talked about, make sure you're switching your cooking oils, make sure you're switching out your spices, your dressings, filter your water, all that good stuff.
Yep.
And honestly, if you can, like, the point of this is we don't want you to stress. We just want you to start making a difference. So even if you just replace 1 to 2 items a week, and you go to the grocery store and you've got some garlic powder that has the monodextrose in there. So put organic garlic powder on your grocery list for next week and just switch it out. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Our point is we are not wellness gurus by any means. We're not doctors. We're not nutritionists. But we did the research and we found these things out, and you don't have to be nutritional geniuses to make these small differences.
We want to be better consumers. And honestly, we want to spend our money on things that are actually healthier, because you're still going to spend a pretty penny on some of these spices. So if it's a couple of bucks more, I think it saves you at the doctor's office. I think it saves you potentially a trip to the doctor's office. I mean, it may even save you from having a major illness or disease.
You know, a long time ago, and I would properly credit the person who told me this if I could remember her name, but a long time ago I was having a conversation with someone and she said, you either pay the farmer or you pay the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like that saying, and it's true. And a lot of times, like, if you look at the difference between the organic garlic with just the ingredient of garlic versus the non-organic garlic that's got that preservative to give it the longer shelf life, you might be talking about the difference of $1 or $2. And so honestly, in the long run, don't err on the side of, well, I'm going to save $1 or $2 to stay within my budget, if it could potentially cost you your health, which will cost you thousands of dollars down the road. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I think it puts you on the road to eating more healthy too. I think, well, I'm doing this at home, I'm not stopping by Raising Cane's and having deep fried chicken. Because that oil gets used over and over and over again.
And that, my friend, is a good teaser, because in one of our future episodes, we are going to dive into fast food and some of the different things to look out for there, and which fast food joints do it better than others, and what you can avoid and what you can stay away from. Hey, I would love to hear from you. So we are on, I don't know if you know, we're on Instagram at Empty Nester Life Podcast. And so we would love to see, like, shoot a picture of yourself throwing away some spices or some dressing.
Or video.
Yeah, like, we want to see, tag us in that if you do your own purge. So we are at Empty Nester Life Podcast. And hey, listen, if you found this episode somewhat helpful, then definitely share this with someone who maybe they're all about just, hey, Frito chips and processed foods and processed meats, and maybe they're vegan, but they're eating the Impossible burgers, and hey, Oreos are vegan. So I mean, loaded with chemicals and sugar, but they're vegan. So hey, send this episode to somebody you care about who you think might need a little nudge to get on top of their nutritional facts in their pantry.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this on some podcast network, do us a favor. put 5 stars on it. If you're watching this on YouTube, we would love a like. We'd like you to hit the subscribe button because we're trying to build this channel. Hit the alert button so whenever we release something, we just appreciate you tuning in. We're new to this podcast thing. Like I say, we always really enjoy doing it and really enjoy when people actually watch it and maybe get some information from it.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Mark and Jackie with the Empty Nester Life podcast. And we really appreciate you. Leave us a comment. Let us know what's your biggest takeaway from this episode. And we'll see you next week.